Hello and welcome to another screencast. Today's episode is dealing with the Soliloquy slideshow plugin for WordPress. Soliloquy is a very robust, reputable, and lightweight slideshow that I like to use for all my sites. I can't recommend it enough, at least at this point. We'll see what happens in the future. But the development team behind it are very dedicated. They push out frequent releases, and they pretty much roll out a good assortment of features each time. So I really like this plugin, and it's proven its bona fides for sure versus some of the other competition that's out there. So let's get directly right into how to create a slideshow. So the cool thing about Soliloquy is when you add a new one, and you can either click here or you click there, is you can intermix not only just simple images transitioning from one to the next, fade in, fade out, or other types of wipe effects, but you can also place in other sources such as video, embeddable video, and they support Dailymotion or YouTube, the king of the crowd, and then there's Vimeo, and then Dailymotion, and I believe there's a few other platforms they support. And it's very easy to do to get these pieces of content. And then the other form that they allow to embed as well is custom HTML content. So it's really cool the fact that you can create these sort of super optimized for SEO or search engine optimized type of layouts or schemes, and if you can totally control the either the design or some of the messaging behind the scenes in your back-end coding without having to come back to the slideshow application. But there's other reasons to use HTML, but the most part you're going to be using it is images and video. So first I'm going to show you how to embed images into it, and if you're familiar with how to add media in WordPress, this will all look pretty familiar to you. Of course, you can click the Select Images option here, or you can drag images in. I'm just going to go ahead and click. And just like any other WordPress upload, you can shift-click, you can control-click, and you can grab images, and then you can upload them directly in here. And, of course, it'll start populating the thumbnails through. This is completely drag and this is a completely customizable area. You can drag and drop to what ordering you prefer. Of course, you can delete an image if you decide you don't want to use it, and then you can modify the image's settings, which there are a few. The most important ones are going to be probably these two for SEO reasons: the image title and the image alt text. You probably want to keep these the same, or you don't have to input both, to be perfectly honest. One or the other is fine. Most browsers take titles these days for SEO, but alt text is kind of the old school sort of way to optimize for SEO. So you can plug in keywords into either one. Maybe try even putting unique ones for each slot. I don't know if you're going to reap much benefit from doing that from a Google organic ranking perspective, but you never know. But yeah, you definitely want to at least fill one of these boxes out. The next box is the image hyperlink. You can link the image to either an internal page, site, a site that exists on your site, or you can have it link externally to a website like Apple.com or something. Now, of course, I would highly recommend if you do link it to an outside page, you always check the box that opens the link in a new tab. That's a rule of thumb in web maintenance, basically. You just anything that links externally, have it open, so in another tab, so you can allow the user to navigate back pretty simplistically. And you can also add an optional caption on here, so I'm just going to type in "this is a caption" and do some kind of lightweight formatting here if you want. You can bold it, you can italicize it, let's just do a little bit of both, and so on and so forth. And then when you're done, just hit Save Metadata, and that'll save the data, the settings behind that particular image, and you can do the same for the next one. If you want to insert a video, let's go to YouTube real quick here. I'm just going to pick a random video here from Jimmy Fallon, and I am going to quickly grab the embed code, I believe it. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. You just need to grab the address. It's a lot easier these days than it used to be. You click that button that I just clicked there and click on video slides, and then it'll tell you all the various URLs it accepts. For YouTube, for Vimeo, a site called Wistia, which I have no clue what that is. But just add the video slide there, and I believe it also takes Dailymotion. I could have sworn I saw that. But video slide title would be, of course, what do you want to name the title? My video slide title. There's the URL slot, and then you can actually upload a custom thumbnail. If you're not happy with what YouTube chose, totally pick a thumbnail. It's a very cool option that they provide. And then you can also put a slide caption, which overlays on the bottom portion by default of the video. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like once we preview this. And then you just insert the slide into the mix. And again, you can drag and drop what order you want that slide to appear. Pretty simple stuff. So after that's all done, you can configure the settings behind the actual slider itself. So you can pick a slider theme, just kind of toy with these. These have different types of aesthetic feels. So just you can peruse those and see what they look like on the other side. You can, of course, change the width and height in pixels for the slider itself. You can select what kind of transition you want. There's 3 options. There's simple fade in, fade out, and then 2 scroll effects, a horizontal and a vertical. You can pick, and then you can get to some really detailed portions of the actual animation, including the duration, the speed, and so on and so forth. So I'll just let you kind of toy with that stuff. But these other checkboxes here will deal with mostly, do you want to have slider navigation arrows? Do you want it to where a user rolls over the image and it pauses the slideshow? Do you want the slider to loop? Do you want it to load on a random slide every time somebody hits the refresh button? Do you want what's called adaptive height, which means if you're uploading photos that don't necessarily meet this dimension placeholder, say this is more landscape oriented, but say you upload a portrait type of image, which would be the total inverse of this dimension. Let's say it's 300 by 960. Adaptive height will allow you the ability to then it'll automatically just sort of morph vertically to accommodate that height, and then it'll morph back to a rectangular orientation. Some people like it, some people don't. The problem with it is when it does do that morphing, it pushes whatever's below it as a result, because it's increasing its height each time, and then of course condensing its height when it transitions back to its original scheme. So that's essentially, there's a few other things that you can kind of play with here, but I'll let you kind of peruse the options that remain that I didn't discuss. So really, the rest of these are might or might not be on your site. Miscellaneous most likely will. You can go a little bit more intense, but I would just kind of concentrate on these two. Those are really the 2 important ones. And of course, once you're done, you can publish it, and then even before that, you can proactively save the draft at any point. Although it does save every few minutes or so automatically, which is pretty handy to have, just like everything else in WordPress. When you're done, you get this little pop-up box that appears, and essentially it's telling you that you can grab this little piece of code here, copy it, and then paste it inside of a page or post, just like as is, and it will display. Or alternatively, let's go to Pages, and actually, I did not name this slideshow, so I'm going to say Slider Sample. That way I've got something to ID it with. And I'm going to go to just a random blog post here. And it's actually a lot easier. You don't even have to copy that code. It's a lot easier to embed this slideshow once you're inside of the editing side of the blogger the post or the page. So I'm going to erase all this stuff, and in visual mode you will have an add slider button here, and simply just click on it and then insert it in, and it'll paste the code right directly in, or at least I think it did. Guess maybe not, but let's try it again. There it is. Okay, just took a second try there, but it made its way through finally. And let's see what that looks like. And there it is. There's your slideshow. And there's your thumbnail that you use as opposed to using the YouTube thumbnail for the video. So there you can see you've got video content intermixed with images, and that is about it. So I hope you enjoyed this WordPress tutorial. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in the next one.